The house is already awake, even though no one is moving. Soft light glows behind lace curtains, warm and golden against the winter night. Snow rests quietly along the window ledges, untouched, as if it knows this evening is meant to be gentle. Somewhere inside the Victorian home, a clock ticks slowly. Not loudly. Not urgently. Just enough to remind the house that time is passing, and that something special is approaching. You step inside without ceremony. The door closes softly behind you, sealing out the cold. Immediately, the air changes. It's warmer here, carrying the faint scent of pine, polished wood, and something sweet baking somewhere deeper in the house. The hallway stretches ahead, narrow and elegant, lined with dark wooden panels that have seen many winters before this one. A runner rug muffles your footsteps, making even movement feel quieter than usual. You pause for a moment. Not because you're unsure where to go, but because the house itself seems to be holding a breath. Christmas Eve. You can feel it in the stillness. A small lamp glows on a side table, its light softened by a fabric shade. Shadows rest gently along the wallpaper, patterned with faded florals that seem to carry memories you don't need to understand. You walk slowly now, allowing curiosity to guide you rather than purpose. At the end of the hall, the parlor door stands slightly open. Warm light spills out, flickering faintly. Firelight. You step closer, and the sound reaches you next, a low, steady crackle. The fireplace is lit, its flames calm and controlled, as if they've been burning patiently for hours. Inside the parlor, the room feels full without being crowded. A tall Christmas tree stands near the window, decorated simply. No blinking lights. Just candles resting carefully in holders, their flames steady. Ornaments, glass, brass, hand-painted, catch the light quietly without trying to shine too brightly. The tree doesn't sparkle. It glows. Stockings hang along the mantel, each one different, each one clearly chosen with care. The mantel itself holds small, thoughtful decorations, evergreen sprigs, ribbon, a few old photographs in oval frames. You wonder whose faces look back from those frames. You don't pick them up. You don't need to. The fire crackles softly again. You move toward one of the armchairs, upholstered in deep fabric that looks as though it remembers comfort. A folded blanket rests over the arm, thick and inviting. You sit. The chair accepts you immediately, like it has been waiting all evening. Your shoulders lower without instruction. The warmth from the fire reaches you gradually, not rushing, not overwhelming. Just steady. Reliable. Outside, snow continues to fall. You can hear it faintly now, brushing against the tall windows, tapping softly against the glass. The sound is distant, softened by thick walls and heavy curtains. Inside this house, winter feels far away. A side table holds a porcelain teacup. Steam curls lazily upward, slow enough that you can watch it without effort. The scent is gentle, spiced, warm, familiar in a way that feels older than memory. You wrap your hands around the cup. The warmth spreads into your palms, your fingers, your wrists. Everything about this evening seems designed to slow time. The clock ticks again. You glance toward it, noticing the ornate casing, the careful craftsmanship. Each tick feels deliberate. Patient. You wonder, softly, what usually happens in this house on Christmas Eve. Do voices fill these rooms later? Do footsteps move up and down the stairs? Does laughter echo softly behind closed doors? The questions arrive without urgency. They don't need answers. The fire shifts, a log settling deeper. The flames glow a little brighter, then calm again. Your breathing follows the rhythm naturally. In, out. The parlor feels safe. Not in a dramatic way. In a quiet, dependable way. The kind of safety that comes from walls built to last, routines repeated year after year, evenings spent waiting rather than rushing. The tree candles flicker slightly, responding to a subtle change in air. Their light dances briefly across the ceiling, then settles again. You notice how quiet your mind feels here. Thoughts arrive slowly. They don't stack on top of one another. They drift through like gentle visitors, staying only as long as they're welcome. You lean back into the chair, pulling the blanket over your legs. It's heavier than it looks, woolen, warm, reassuring. Outside, the snow deepens. Inside, the house seems to lean inward, drawing warmth toward its center. You listen. Fire. Clock. Snow. 3 sounds. All calm. All steady. Your eyelids feel just a little heavier now. Not sleepy yet. Just comfortable. And as you sit there, wrapped in warmth and soft light, one quiet curiosity settles in. If this is how Christmas Eve begins in this house, what gentle moments are still waiting to unfold? The thought rests easily with you. The fire continues to glow. The clock continues to tick. The snow continues to fall. And you remain right where you are. Warm. Still. And quietly curious. Fading, just settling into a softer glow. You hadn't noticed when time slowed, only that it did. The tea beside you has cooled just enough to sip without thinking. Each taste carries warmth deeper, like it knows the path. The house remains quiet, but it's no longer still. There is a subtle sense of movement now, not footsteps, not voices, something quieter than that. Presence. You rise from the chair slowly, the blanket slipping back into place as if it understands you'll return later. The parlor seems to watch gently as you move away, firelight following you across the floor. The hallway feels different now. Not darker. Just deeper. The lamps glow softer, their light pulling closer to the walls. Shadows stretch slightly longer, but never sharp. They feel rounded, like they belong here. You notice the staircase at the end of the hall. Tall. Curved. Patient. The banister has been polished smooth by decades of hands. When your fingers rest against it, the wood feels warm, almost alive with memory. You take the first step. It doesn't creak. It sighs. A small, friendly sound, like the house acknowledging you. Each step upward carries the same gentle response, as though the stairs remember every Christmas Eve they've ever held. Halfway up, you pause. From here, the house feels layered. Below you, the warmth of the parlor still breathes upward. Above you, the upper floor waits, quiet, reserved, full of rooms that seem to keep secrets kindly. You continue. At the top of the stairs, a narrow corridor stretches in both directions. Doors line the walls, each closed, each offering nothing but possibility. You choose one without thinking. Inside, the room is smaller, cozier. A bedroom, carefully kept. A quilted bedspread covers the bed, patterned with soft colors that have faded beautifully over time. Moonlight slips in through the window, blending with the glow of a small bedside candle. The air here feels calmer somehow. Thicker. Like the room has been holding on to warmth all evening. A rocking chair rests near the window. It doesn't move, but you imagine it does sometimes, slow, steady arcs late at night when the house listens to the snow. You don't sit. You simply stand for a moment, letting the quiet reach you. This room feels like rest. Not sleep yet, but the promise of it. You step back into the hallway, closing the door gently behind you. The corridor accepts the sound and returns to silence. Further down, another door waits. This one opens into a study. Books line the walls from floor to ceiling. Their spines are worn, titles embossed in gold that catches the lamplight faintly. A writing desk sits near the center, neat but lived in. A single letter rests there, folded, sealed, unfinished. You don't read it. You don't need to. Some things are meant to remain paused on Christmas Eve. A grandfather clock stands against the far wall. Its ticking is deeper here, slower, like a heartbeat that belongs to the house itself. Tick. Pause. Tick. You feel your own breathing adjust again. The study smells of paper, wood polish, and something faintly sweet, perhaps pipe tobacco from years ago, long since absorbed into the walls. You wander closer to the window. Outside, the snow has softened the world completely. Street lamps glow through it like distant stars. The entire neighborhood feels wrapped, quieted, protected. You realize something gently then. The storm isn't trapping you here. It's keeping everything else out. Downstairs, the fire shifts again. The sound drifts upward, reminding you that warmth still waits below. You leave the study as quietly as you entered, moving back toward the stairs. Descending feels easier. The banister guides your hand without effort. Each step seems to slow you just enough that your body doesn't rush ahead of your thoughts. When you reach the parlor again, the fire greets you like an old friend who never left. The tree candles burn lower now, their flames steady and patient. Wax has begun to drip softly down their sides, frozen in place mid-fall. You return to the chair. This time, when you sit, your body sinks deeper. The blanket feels heavier. Kinder. Your eyelids lower slightly, not closing, just resting closer together. The clock ticks. The fire breathes. The house holds. You notice now how the Victorian home feels less like a building and more like a guardian, quietly ensuring that this night unfolds slowly, gently, exactly as it should. Christmas Eve doesn't hurry here. It lingers. And as you sit wrapped in warmth and soft shadows, another gentle question drifts through your mind. If the house itself is this calm, what peaceful moments are still waiting in the hours ahead? The thought doesn't ask for an answer. It simply stays. The fire glows. The snow falls. And the night continues to open itself. One quiet moment at a time. The fire has become a quiet companion now. Its light no longer dances, it glows, steady and low, like it understands that the night is moving deeper. Shadows settle into familiar places, no longer shifting, as if they've chosen where to rest. You barely notice when your breathing slows again. In and out. The house seems to breathe with you. Somewhere above, a floorboard makes a soft sound, not a step, not a creak. More like a settling. As if the house itself is adjusting for the night ahead. You remain in the chair, wrapped in the blanket, eyes half-lidded but aware. Awareness here doesn't feel sharp. It feels rounded, gentle, forgiving. The clock ticks. You notice that the space between ticks feels longer now. Not because time has changed, but because you have. A faint scent drifts through the room. Fresh bread. Or maybe cinnamon. Something warm, something baked earlier and left to linger in the air on purpose. You follow the feeling rather than the thought. Your feet touch the floor again, slow and careful. The rug beneath them is thick, patterned, familiar without needing explanation. The dining room waits just beyond the parlor. Inside, the table is already set. Not extravagantly. Intentionally. Plates rest in place, polished and quiet. Silverware reflects the candlelight softly, never flashing. Linen napkins are folded neatly, each one identical, each one patient. At the center of the table, evergreen branches form a simple arrangement. Small red berries peek through, adding just enough color to remind you what season it is. Candles burn low here too. This room feels expectant. Not excited. Not busy. Just ready. You walk slowly around the table, fingertips brushing the back of a chair. The wood is smooth, worn by years of hands pulling it close, pushing it back, gathering, leaving. You imagine voices here. Low laughter. Gentle conversation. The kind that never rushes because there is nowhere else to be. But tonight, the room rests. Dinner has already passed. Or perhaps it hasn't arrived yet. On Christmas Eve, both feel possible at the same time. You move on, guided by a soft instinct rather than curiosity now. The kitchen is warm in a different way. Not fire warm. Oven warm. Copper pots hang above a wooden counter. The scent is stronger here, unmistakable now. Bread, spice, something sweet cooling on a rack by the window. A loaf sits there, wrapped loosely in cloth, as if waiting for morning. You don't touch it. Some things are meant for later. The kitchen clock ticks too, smaller than the one in the study, faster somehow, but still gentle. Its sound blends with the distant crackle of the fire, layering the night in rhythm. You lean against the counter for a moment. Your body feels heavy in the best way. Not tired. Settled. As though every part of you has agreed that this is where you belong tonight. Outside the kitchen window, the snow has slowed. The flakes fall larger now, drifting rather than rushing. The world beyond the glass looks softened, blurred, dreamlike. You realize you could stay here like this for a long time. And that thought feels comforting. When you return to the parlor, the fire has lowered further, but the warmth remains. The tree candles burn shorter, their light now closer to the branches, creating small halos among the needles. You sit again. This time, your eyes close for a moment. Just a moment. The chair supports you completely. The blanket rests across you like a promise. The sounds of the house wrap around you, not pulling you inward, just holding you steady. Your thoughts drift. They don't form pictures anymore. They feel more like sensations. Warmth. Stillness. Safety. You sense the house preparing for something, not an event, but a transition. The night slipping deeper. Christmas Eve folding itself gently toward Christmas morning. The clock ticks. Fewer thoughts pass between each sound now. Your breathing is slow enough that you can feel it in your chest, your shoulders, your hands. In. Out. You become aware of how little effort it takes to stay here. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be decided. The Victorian home carries the night for you. And just before sleep edges closer, before it asks permission, you feel one last, gentle curiosity arise. If the night can be this quiet, how peaceful will morning feel when it finally arrives? The question doesn't stay long. It dissolves into warmth. The fire glows. The house rests. And you drift. Not asleep yet, but close enough to feel how soft it will be. The house has grown quieter in a way that feels intentional. Not empty. Not silent. Just deeply, respectfully calm. The fire has settled into embers now, glowing softly like a memory rather than a flame. Each small crackle is slower than the last, spaced far enough apart that you almost forget they're there, until they remind you again. Your body barely moves. It doesn't need to. The chair holds you perfectly, shaped by time, patience, and countless evenings just like this one. The blanket has warmed fully now, carrying your heat back to you, creating a gentle cocoon where nothing feels sharp or demanding. The clock ticks. But even that sound feels farther away now, as though it's happening in another room or another time. Your breathing is slow, deep, effortless. In, out. Somewhere in the house, a window shifts slightly as the temperature changes. The sound is soft, barely there, like the house adjusting its shoulders before sleep. You sense that it's late now. Not by numbers. By feeling. The kind of late that doesn't push you toward bed, but invites you there patiently. You open your eyes just enough to notice the tree again. The candles have burned low, their flames small and steady, casting gentle halos among the branches. The ornaments no longer catch light sharply, they glow softly, like distant stars seen through mist. Everything looks softened. Edges blur. Even the shadows feel kind. Your thoughts move differently now. They don't follow paths. They drift. One feeling dissolves into another without resistance. Warmth becomes memory. Memory becomes comfort. Comfort becomes rest. You imagine the rest of the house settling too. Upstairs rooms growing cooler, quilts waiting quietly. Hallways holding their breath. Doors standing closed, not to keep anything out, but to protect the calm inside. Christmas Eve is nearly complete. The waiting part is almost over. That realization doesn't excite you. It soothes you. Because waiting has been gentle here. You feel no need to rush toward morning. Morning will come when it's ready. The fire sighs softly. The sound is barely audible, but it carries weight, like a book being closed carefully, a story reaching its final pages. Your eyelids lower again, this time staying down longer. You don't fully fall asleep. Not yet. You float. The house supports that floating. It doesn't pull you under. It simply keeps you safe while you hover between waking and rest. Your breathing deepens once more. In. Out. You feel the heaviness in your limbs now, not uncomfortable, just present. Arms resting where they are. Legs relaxed. Shoulders released from holding anything at all. Nothing expects you. Nothing needs you. The Victorian home has done this before. Hundreds of Christmas Eves. It knows how to guide the night gently toward rest. A faint sound reaches you, wind brushing snow against the outer walls. It's distant, softened, completely powerless against the warmth inside. You smile slightly. Not because something is funny. Because something is right. The last curiosity of the night arrives quietly, almost shy. If this much peace can exist in one evening, how deeply can sleep hold you when you finally let go? The question fades before it finishes forming. Your thoughts dissolve into sensation again. Warm. Safe. Still. The fire glows faintly. The tree rests in shadowed light. The house watches over you. And somewhere between one slow breath and the next, sleep reaches out, not to take you, but to wait beside you. The night no longer feels like night. It feels like a pause. A gentle space between what has been and what will quietly arrive when you're ready. The embers in the fireplace glow faintly now, their light barely moving. No sparks rise anymore. No logs shift. The fire has done its work and now rests, satisfied. So do you. Your breathing has found its deepest rhythm, slow, smooth, unbroken. Each breath feels like it begins lower than the last, settling somewhere calm and steady inside you. In. Out. The house holds this moment carefully. Nothing changes suddenly here. Nothing surprises. Everything unfolds at exactly the pace your body prefers. The tree candles have gone dark one by one. Only their softened shapes remain, standing quietly among the branches. The room is dim now, lit only by the last glow of the embers and the pale wash of moonlight through the tall windows. Snow still falls outside, but you don't hear it anymore. The world beyond the walls has faded. What remains is warmth, stillness, rest. Your thoughts no longer ask questions. Curiosity has transformed into trust. Trust that nothing is missing. Trust that nothing needs to happen next. Trust that you are exactly where you should be. You feel the chair beneath you less distinctly now, as though your body is becoming lighter, less defined. The blanket no longer feels heavy, it feels distant, like a memory of warmth rather than warmth itself. Your hands rest where they are. Your shoulders sink fully. Your jaw relaxes. Every small place that once held tension has let go without announcement. The clock still ticks somewhere in the house, but you no longer count the space between sounds. Time has stopped asking for your attention. Christmas morning exists. But not here. Not now. Here, there is only the quiet satisfaction of a night completed gently. A Christmas Eve that asked nothing from you and gave you everything you needed. The Victorian home settles into sleep with you. Walls cool slightly. Floors rest. Rooms exhale. This house has known generations of nights like this, nights where the most important thing was rest. Where warmth mattered more than words. Where peace arrived softly and stayed. Your breathing grows even deeper now. In. Out. Thoughts don't drift anymore. They dissolve. Images fade into darkness that feels friendly, welcoming, familiar. You don't fall asleep suddenly. You sink. Slowly. Comfortably. As if sleep has opened a door beneath you rather than in front of you. The last thing you sense is the house itself, steady, protective, calm, standing quietly through the snow, through the night, through the years. Nothing can disturb you here. Nothing follows you into rest. Sleep wraps around you gently, like a blanket placed by hands that know exactly how much warmth you need. And without effort, without thought, without even realizing the moment it happens, you drift fully into sleep. Safe. Warm. At rest.